Hello and welcome back to the Let's Talk Tendies podcast. Today, I am your host, Chicken Tendy Gaming. I don't think that's changed, but I am joined by my good friend, my bestie, the homeboy, Fried Gang Gaming.
What's up, everyone?
What's up? So, today this is going to be kind of a different type of podcast. It's definitely not going to be kind of what we normally talk about with our own issues and stuff like that. It's going to be more based upon...
Talk about my Wi-Fi issues.
We can talk about that if we run out of
off.
ideas. It's going to be more based around like sports, kind of just because we are huge sports heads and we love watching sports. Also, we hate the teams that play in sports because actually we can get into that right now. Toronto Maple Leafs. Regular season, God, no one can touch them. They were the best in NHL for probably 2 weeks. Top of the top, one of the best. Towards the end, they kind of phased out. They still were the best in their league by a landslide. Playoff hits, entire team just gets ghosted. Entire team's gone.
What they do the best.
Hi, J-Boy. The entire team out for the count, except for a few players which are actually going to free agency. So let's talk about free agency for a second, because this is kind of huge. I believe there's 12 players going on to free agency. Let me get that up. I believe there's 12.
Look at that. There's a lot of people, and
no
they've
Wi-Fi
got like
phone.
no cap room.
No cap room. They have $40 million on
My cap too.
4 players.
The cap's not going up
Hold up.
at all.
All right, wait. Wi-Fi on my phone's not working. This is fun. Jonah?
Yeah.
Okay. So my Wi-Fi on my phone's deciding, oh yeah, let's not work right now. I'll find the players. Maybe.
All right. I could find them too.
Okay, yeah, please find them because they're not. Oh, here we go.
You just sit them all out.
God, I can't find it. I
believe all the unrestricted ones.
Yeah, all the unrestricted ones.
I'll just read them out.
Okay.
So we got Jason Spezza, Zach
Bogosian,
Alex
Galchenyuk,
Wayne Simmons, Nick
Foligno,
Joe Thornton. I think Zach Hyman's one too, and same with Freddie Anderson.
So Hyman, Anderson, yeah, those were it.
And there's just a bunch of like
nobodies. Yeah. So there's about 10. Yeah, right. There's no Dom came today. We're not joined by Dom. Out of those players, I'm gonna be honest. The only players to show up in that series, Spezza, Campbell, Nylander was there for a little bit. Galchenyuk was there for a game. About
Kerfoot
a game.
Was good too.
Kerfoot was good. Hyman was digging.
Brody was good. I think Bro was pretty good. And same with Muzzin, but then like the guys are being paid like $30 million in free players, or like $20 million in like 2 players, something like that. Like
we wouldn't know how Tavares would have been. He could have been amazing. He could have been nowhere.
Or
he got injured first game. I talked about this before. He's got injured first game. We don't know. So we can't base it on them. But Matthews and Marner, $20 to $30 million for the combined. A combined 1 goal. And
1 goal.
Like 3 assists. Not even. Maybe 2. Where do they... The bigger question here is, where do they need to focus? Just those 2 players alone. Because the team needs to get on the same page.
Yeah. I mean, clearly, I have no idea, like, what's with them. Like, some people say, oh, they've got no passion, they don't care, they already got their money, so they don't have to do anything.
I hope you know, if you win the Stanley Cup, you get paid more.
Yeah, I mean...
You get paid extra. for winning the Stanley Cup.
Like saying, I think it was the majority. Like he was saying that he was really frustrated, like losing. So I mean, if that's the case, like then I don't think it's a problem about them lacking the passion. Like they just
right.
they don't care.
Right.
I don't know if it's like pressure or something. I mean, then again, if it was pressure, I don't. Then how, like, if being in a playoffs, I should bring up. I think Mitch Marner won the Memorial Cup with the London Knights.
Yep.
Which is a lot harder than the Stanley Cup.
Okay, I'm gonna pull this comment out. Ryan puts focus on actually being in the playoffs or playing in the playoffs. What if that's the problem? What if they're focusing on, oh my god, we cannot mess up. We are in the playoff. We mess up, we're gone. And they keep thinking about that, and they're constantly thinking about that to the point where they're overthinking it, and they just lose everything. Like they can't focus. What if instead they played it like, we're reaching playoffs. Game 1, we're still reaching playoffs. Play the first series like you're still playing, maybe be a little more physical, but play the first series like you're still playing in the regular season.
Yeah.
If you have that mindset,
I mean,
you're just going to play like how you did in the regular season. And how were you in the regular season? What was it? 50-something goals for Matthews? Top 5 goals, 41 goals for Matthews. Top 5 goals.
Winner.
Top 5 goal scorer in Marner.
Marner, like he was top 5 points.
Perfect. There you go. Think like you're playing in the regular season. Then what's going to happen? You're going to play like you're playing in the regular season. That's where you're good. Easy.
You saw the team was like completely off sync later on.
Yeah.
Like I think for like the last few games, they didn't even start like right at all. Like you could see like it was almost as if they didn't practice.
No, they
reviews like the last few games. Like you saw how terribly they started all like games 5 through 7.
Oh yeah, 100%. Horrible. But the fact is,
I don't know if it was like complacency.
The fact is, I know TSN pulled up. They posted something, and where did it was either TSN or Sportsnet. I believe it was Sportsnet. Let me see if I'm probably not gonna be able to find it. If I can find it, I will be surprised. They post 8 posts a day. There's no way I'm finding it.
Yeah. Or you could just remember what it was.
I just want to find the exact post on when it was. Oh, I think I might be close. Okay, maybe it's TSN. I have no idea. But somebody posted. Where do the Leafs need to be fixed? Where do they need to work on? Is it physical? Is it?
It could be that. You could argue that because I mean you saw
more training
like,
in the off season.
Mm-hmm.
Is it defense? Do nothing? Like,
I mean the defense actually, for once, it wasn't actually the defense that really screwed them up.
Other than Dermott doing the spin pass in Game 6.
Yeah.
Other than that, or the spin in Game 6. Other than that, the defense was actually decent.
Because earlier years they lost because the defense was complete garbage.
Pretty much.
I mean, they completely revamped it.
Pretty much.
TJ Brody was a great sign.
TJ Brody. Gardner. Jake Gardner. He was horrible in the playoffs.
Too, yeah.
But what do you do? What do you do?
Too top heavy, and none of those top guys didn't even bother to show up.
If I were the Leafs,
that's a big question. You don't really.
If I were Kyle Dubas, first off, re-sign Spezza.
Yeah, obviously, he had like 30 points, especially on making league minimum salary.
He was the one last year. Game 4 of the play-in, who got in the fight and kickstarted that comeback.
Mm-hmm.
He was the only one in this entire series that actually got their head out of their ass and started to shoot the puck. Mm-hmm. And yet, of course, Price, robbing him every other shot.
He was a god.
You can't do anything about that. Price is just, he snorts G Fuel before every game. That's pretty much what he does. Like, that's how good he is. He's just, playoff Price is unmatchable. Do you maybe sign Simmons? He's a good body just to have out there in case somebody needs it.
He was like injured for a while.
He was injured, but he's still, You need someone to be physical. You got someone to be physical. Thornton, I'm sorry, bro, but you got.
He's done. He's washed.
He's
that series proved. I mean, like I love him, the guy, but like that series proved that honestly, he shouldn't be in the league anymore. Like, he should just retire.
At this point,
like he's just.
Yeah, I love the guy.
Like,
love the guy. I think he's a great player.
Yeah, he's done.
I think he's a great player, but the speed that the game is now. He's really
just too slow.
Are you really gonna? You're 40, almost turning 50, I think. Are you really gonna be able to keep up with now guys who now we're pretty much everyone's just a couple miles per hour slower than McDavid?
Yeah.
And everyone's shot is harder. Everyone trains harder. They're just it's
gone more of a speed game, and
you can't rely on like you can have that physical player like the Ryan Reeves, the Tom Wilsons, the Wayne Simmons. Those guys are phasing out more. You kind of need a skill to be in there. You need to have a good shot, or you need to have good hands, or you need to have everything to still be able to play anymore. It's not what it is.
Mm-hmm.
But defense, great. If Muzzin didn't get hurt, we had a chance. Okay? John Tavares, he didn't get hurt, we had a chance.
On the other hand, there was no guarantee that even if they were both completely healthy, that they would have won. Especially because
there's no guarantee, like but it would have been a better chance. It won.
Yeah.
John Tavares got injured. It was probably a 90% chance that they would have won. That was cut down to about 50. Your captain's out. What are you gonna do? You're screwed.
The worst.
You're screwed. Your captain's out. What are you gonna do?
Worst person gonna get injured. Like, yeah.
I remember Steve Dangle, the YouTuber who works on Sportsnet.
Yeah.
I was watching. He did a review of the game 7, right?
Mm-hmm.
The next day it came out. Literally, I think the day it like ended, like the moment he ended, he recorded it.
Yeah.
He said that there were 300 players. I think it was 300 players since 1967, last time the Leafs won the Cup, been through their system. Almost 100 of them were goalies. What are you going to do? Ever since 2004, haven't won a playoff series?
I mean, they've just made, like, endless mistakes with goalies. I mean,
they found a gem in the rough. They found a gem. They took Campbell, who was doing nothing in LA. He was like a god tier. He became the best goalie of all time.
I was like the first one that actually made because even just like 10 years, they made like one of the biggest, like probably one of the worst trades in NHL history. They had Tuukka Rask. That's the thing not many people know. The Leafs had Tuukka Rask.
They signed Tuukka, never played him, traded him. Never played him. Didn't touch the ice for the Leafs once. But
probably one of the worst trades in NHL history.
You also got Rittich. Do you re-sign him?
I mean, I guess they need a backup because Freddie Anderson's gone.
There's no way they're going to re-sign.
He was a starter,
there's no way Anderson's going to want to re-sign with them. He went from their starter to their backup in one game. I wouldn't want to re-sign with them either, unless they're giving me boatloads of money, which I don't think they have.
He didn't want to go somewhere else that like offered him a star. I'm sure there's going to be some desperate team that probably throws a bunch of money at him.
Do you sign Rittich? Get him back because he got injured, I think.
Yeah.
You sign him,
I mean, like,
bring him back, maybe have him do a not a 50-50, but you do a 60-40, 70-30 type thing where 70-30%, where he plays 30%, you have, or like your first couple games, you do Campbell.
And it was before they got like Jack Campbell. I mean, like their backup goal. Oh my god, I don't even want to speak about it because that was like horrible time with their backup goaltending situation.
Yeah, then they have like 3 different backups.
Garrett Sparks.
Yeah.
Calvin Pickard.
Hutchinson. I like Hutchinson.
It was just a rough time for backup goalies. Michael Hutchinson.
I liked him. I liked him. I went to the Leafs game where he got a shutout. I went to that game against Detroit, I think, a couple of years ago. It was a good game. I enjoyed it. Oh my God, McKinney. No. What's his name? He was just a god. Yes. When he played, it was a 90% chance he was just in god mode. He was just amazing. He would have these beautiful saves. Was he good? Not really, but he was decent. Had him for a couple of years, but you got your defense. Your defense, great. It's probably the best it's been in the past 10 years.
At least I don't know. Yeah,
probably since 2004.
It's probably the best in my lifetime. Let's just say that. Like,
you're not gonna give up Matthews. Because that'd just that'd be an idiot. That'd be an idiot.
You're not. You don't trade away Rock Star winner, a possible Hart Trophy winner. You don't trade.
You're not gonna give up Marner.
Now, and for all people who say trade him, like, they're insane. They don't. I know. Yes, he was bad.
I get it.
Yes, he underperformed badly, but that would be like a really dumb decision.
It's like
he's reactionary.
It's like trading Sidney Crosby to the Sabres. What's the point? Like trading Tom Brady.
People are
saying
the Jets. They should trade. Yeah, some people are saying they should trade Marner to the Sabres. People were actually saying that. Trade him for Jack Eichel, I think. Yeah. But I just want to point this out. And I think a lot of these fans, like, I think all of them didn't even know this.
Trade him for McDavid.
There's one other team that was, like, great in the regular season. Actually, two of them in recent years. They were, like, great in the regular season, and then choked constantly whenever they ended up playoffs, and then they ended up winning a cup. You got Tampa Bay Lightning first.
Oh, yeah, that was...
I mean, they had, like, endless on there where they had great regular seasons, you know, like, so the first round President's Trophy winners. Yeah. What else? They had a 3-2 series lead against the Capitals one year in 2018, and then they didn't score a single goal in, like, Game 6 and 7.
Yep. Sounds about right. They got swept a couple years ago. That was cool. But...
And they won a cup, and they might win another one.
Yeah.
And then there's Washington Capitals themselves, too. I mean, like, what? I think Ovechkin never even got past the second round until 2018.
And that's when he won the cup. Ov. He deserves it.
Like everyone was saying, he was a big choker because he could never get past Pittsburgh, he never get past any other team. Like,
it's like
saying, they want to come to 20 team.
It's like saying...
Like, I think there's got to be some patience still. Like, I think some people, like, are a bit too impatient when it comes to this, because like I can see some parallels with both Tampa Bay and Washington.
Right. It's like saying LeBron was is the only player that can score for the Lakers. No.
Mm-hmm.
No. It's like saying Matthews is the only player who can score for. It's like basing an entire team's success off one player. You can't.
Well, I mean, it's
unless
not
it's tennis.
I mean, like, unless it's tennis or like, cause yeah,
where it is only one person. If you're playing a team sport, you cannot bait. It's like saying putting random baseball player, putting Vladdy Guerrero Jr. and saying you're only allowed to score. You're 3 at-bats a game?
Games doing that. Like, no. You get like 3-4 at-bats a game. You get like only 950 at-bats.
So saying Ovi is the only one on the team who sucked? No. There's a team of 40, 30-something guys who couldn't win. It's the same thing as the Leafs. Maybe not the Leafs. They had a couple guys who were willing to win and who could put in the work to win. You had a team of 30 who couldn't once touch the puck in Game 7.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You had a bunch of guys in, Game 6, overtime. 15 shots were taken in overtime.
Mm-hmm.
2 of them were from the Habs. Only 2.
I mean, at the end of the day, like, it didn't matter because what only thing matters is who got the last shot. One of them the Habs.
I get that.
Only 2 shots.
But the more likely chance of somebody actually scoring off of 13 shots and 2 shots, who do you think is going to win? 13 shots or 2 shots?
Should be 13 shots in a normal world, except...
Should be 13.
I mean, Carey Price.
They had options. They had chances. They had many chances.
Yeah.
Price was off his own, out of line, shifted over too much. Had many chances. Nobody took it.
They were too hesitant. Like, I don't know, were they like scared of shooting? That was the thing I saw a lot. They just didn't want to shoot the damn puck.
That's what I hate. Hockey now is about passing and setting up plays. Sure.
Like,
don't sit in another team's zone and pass the puck for 20 minutes straight.
At some point, you gotta shoot the damn puck. It's simple.
It's easy to pass. It's easy to make a pass across ice.
Yeah, of course.
But you're not going to score off a pass. You're going to score off a rebound or just straight goal or just straight shot. You're trying to hit Matthews in one spot. What do you think is going to happen? They're going to realize, oh, we should double team Matthews. They're only going to pass to him.
Well, yeah, that's
Move
why
him around. Sit him in the middle of the zone. Sit him on the other side. Have him on his offhand. Who knows?
But they didn't even. They just ran up the same strategies, and the Habs already knew what to do. They like I think every time Matthews got a puck, they swarmed him.
Mm-hmm.
So they would never let him even get an opportunity to have a shot on
Matthews
goal.
is a big boy. Let him hit. If he wants to throw the body around, let him throw the body around. I get it. He's one of the skilled players, but you tell him how to hit. You tell him to tuck your arms. You just barrel into somebody. Go for it. That's how you're going to win in the playoffs. It's not about skill. It's about physical. If you're more physical, you're going to have more whatever. Like you need to be physical in the playoffs.
That's they've been with Montreal. You saw they were far more physical than the Leafs were.
Even with the small guys, Gallagher, whoever, Toffoli, like they were not Toffoli. Yes, Toffoli. They were thrown around the body like they were Marshawn Lynch.
Yeah.
Or like they were, I don't know. I'm blanking on names. Whatever. They're throwing around a body like they're playing in the NFL. Okay. Cool. What about the Leafs?
It's hilarious. Like some people were saying, like,
and Spezza and
his injury with Simmons,
and yeah, that's it.
Yeah, and like it's hilarious because I don't remember this, but I think it was like a few weeks before. But I'm sorry, when the Leafs were playing the Jets, and their coach was like complaining about the Leafs being a dirty team, that they were too aggressive.
That's where
they were still really physical.
Sports is going.
Right, they had like one of the lead. Like, I think they had like the fourth least amount of hits in the league, and they're being called too physical.
That is where sports is going right now, where you cannot hit anyone because it's quote unquote unsafe. So all of a sudden, everyone's going to be running around wrapped in bubble wrap. Not
like that was a ridiculous solution because they were one of the least physical teams that there was, and it showed a lot in that series. Like Montreal got a lot of physical guys out there.
Yeah, they got a lot of skillful guys who are willing to throw around the body. Let them. If Matthews wants to go and he has open ice and he sees someone and lines him up, rocks him. Go ahead, rock him. Let him do it. Don't say, oh, just skate back and watch the pass. If you have the chance to rock a guy, if he's going a one-on-one and he's looking and he's not looking at you and trying to dangle around you, square up to him. Stop. Put him on his ass. It's not that hard.
Mm-hmm.
If you overcomplicate and say, oh, he's going to go through my legs, behind my back, behind his back, do a 360, pet a dog, and yada, 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 you're not... He's already 10 steps ahead of you. Keep it simple. It's easy. Simple wins. Simple is easier to understand. That's all it is.
Yeah.
Simple is the easiest way to understand anything.
Now, I just want to also bring up some of the awful solutions that some people had, and I told you this before we started up the stream, but
yeah.
There's this guy who said that they should trade Mitch Marner, they should trade Austin Matthews, and retain half of his salary, like, and trade that all to the Florida Panthers for Sergei Bobrovsky,
who's horrible.
There's a lot from like he was really good in Columbus. I think he won like a two-time Vezina Trophy winner with Columbus, but then second he left them and joined Florida, he got paid like what $70 million contract for 7 years.
Sounds
he just struggled badly 2 years. In fact, you would argue he cost Panthers 2 games.
Mm-hmm.
And that guy, I mean, like, I'm not gonna say who he was. I honestly forgot what his name was, but he clearly doesn't watch the Leafs because he was some sports writer for some Boston area newspaper, like that covers the Bruins.
Sounds
so he clearly doesn't know. So he doesn't really know anything.
Sounds about right.
And that means he clearly didn't know what it was. And but I will admit, some people actually thought goaltending was the main problem. Some Leaf fans about that. Some people who weren't Leaf fans who clearly didn't watch the series.
It's usually always the main problem. I remember Campbell came out he had to do a press conference. What did he say? I feel like I let the team down. You don't say that. You were the one who actually kept them in it. It would have been swept.
They would have
been swept in 4.
Destroyed.
It would have been swept if you didn't just say, if you didn't decide to show up. You showed up. You pushed it. Now, when we got to Game 7, I was horrified.
As like any Leafs fan would be.
I think every Leafs fan was like, enjoy the win. Enjoy next series. Enjoy the Jets. They took 1 goal lead. I'm like, all right, I'm tempted to leave.
Yeah, I don't know. I've stood in with like even after the first goal, but like once the second, I just said I'm done.
Once they got to the third in the third period, and it was that open net, I just stood up, walked to my room, took off my jersey, threw it in the closet, and I just sat there. I'm like, I'm done.
Or I mean, then there was that one time like I was imagining some Leafs would have been doing the thing. I don't know if you ever like it was something from like I don't know when it was like 2 years, a year and a half ago. I think it was Skip Bayless threw away one of his Cowboys jerseys in a trash can when they lost.
Yeah, there was a guy who burned a Doug Gilmour jersey.
What an idiot! Like, why did you burn that? Like, you shouldn't even be burning any jersey anyways because those things are really expensive.
Unless it's a cheap one, then yeah, go ahead. Somebody left a Mitch Marner jersey in Maple Leaf Square.
Mm-hmm. Like, why on earth would you burn a jersey of the guy who's a legend and hasn't even played for? He's been out of the league he's been retired for 18 years.
I think the curse, the Leafs curse, happened in '93 with the quote unquote follow through slap shot from Gretzky.
Mm-hmm.
We all know, every Leafs fan knows that one. Bring it away from the Leafs. Still keeping it hockey, but I want to bring it away from the Leafs because it's been 26 minutes of just us talking about the Leafs. Avalanche.
Yikes!
They lost. They were the pick to win. If it wasn't the Leafs, it was.
I thought they were going to win a cup. I don't know. I thought they were winning the cup, with the Leafs. Like, I thought the Leafs would be lucky to make it that far. Like, yep. I didn't think the Leafs would win a cup. All of them for them to do was simply win a playoff series because last time they won a series, I was like 3 months old when they last won a playoff series.
I don't even think I was born.
You weren't even. I don't even think you were alive. I was only 3 months old when they last won a playoff series.
But Nathan MacKinnon in his interview, the captain, the star for the Avs, says, I'm going into my 9th year next year, and I haven't won blank. Crap, whatever.
I mean, he's
9 years on a team.
9 years.
Haven't got past the second round.
Never got past the second round. I mean, like, again, I know some people are going to be calling him a joker, and yes, I think he did definitely vanish towards the end. Like, he was really good in the playoffs, but I mean, there was this thing I saw that I think it was in like 4 or 5 elimination games. He only has just 1 point, and that 1 point was last night. So,
that sounds familiar.
It's not his fault because before the elimination game, he was like on fire. He was amazing.
He was amazing. If the Leafs weren't getting past the first round, honestly, the Habs were not the Habs, the Avs, the Avalanche were my pick to win. Mm-hmm. Out of everyone, they were the pick to win. Not even being.
I thought the only
first round, good. Okay, I don't care about the rest of it. If the Leafs make it on to the Stanley Cup, if the Leafs make it on to the finals, amazing. Thank God. If they win it, I will lose my mind. I would lose my mind if they got past the first round.
I thought the Avs would win the cup. I did. The one team I thought they would be because. It would be the Knights.
Why couldn't it be Ottawa?
They're pretty good.
Why couldn't it just be Ottawa? Honestly, I think that'd be kind of an interesting series, though.
I mean,
even history went back. I remember I saw a post again on Sportsnet. History went back. The Leafs last time they faced the Habs in a Game 7, they won 3-1. Want to know what happened? The Habs won 3-1. I quit being a Leafs fan.
Yeah,
honestly, I quit. The only way they scored was with 7 seconds left.
Mm-hmm.
Good. You didn't get shut out. Honestly, probably wouldn't have mattered anyways.
Would have made a difference. They were still down 2 goals or something by then.
Yep.
Didn't even matter. There's no way they were going to score 2 goals in like less than a minute.
Yep.
Not with the way they were playing.
Yep. Unless they pulled a game 4 like of last year. Even still, guess what? They would have choked in overtime. It would have been the 3rd game in a row. They would have choked in overtime.
You wouldn't have that same miracle against Columbus in Game 4.
After Game 5 of Game 5 of this year, when there was a 2-0 the other way against the Leafs. I love how we try to go away from the Leafs and we bring it back to the Leafs.
I would just go off the Leafs, like bring it away from the Leafs and just go back to Avalanche. So for the people who say Nivikin's like a big choker, right. And says he's been in 9 years, can't win anything. And again, it wasn't his fault. Nope. Kind of team just fell apart. The Avs just completely fell apart. They had a 2-0 series lead over the Golden Knights, and they completely choked.
Pretty much swept.
They choked.
4-0.
I mean, what else to mention is that I think did Nazem Kadri even play the series?
Nope.
Because he was suspended for 8 games. I don't even know if he played any of those 6 games.
He was suspended, and then he tried to uphold it, and then he never played. If he just took the suspension, he probably would have played, at least in the final couple games. If he just said, you know what, sure. Sure, but he appealed it, and then it took him out for the rest of the series. For the rest of the first series and the rest of the second series.
It's one of the few things that, like, you expect time. I mean, not that they would have won, but you could have made an argument that they could have beaten Boston in either 2018 or 2019 and beaten them in a series if he didn't get himself suspended by doing stupid stuff.
I don't know why any team wants Kadri, especially if they're going into the playoffs.
He's a good player, but like I don't know
at this point
with him when it comes to the playoffs.
At this point, if I was him, if I was the team, play him for the series, play him for the regular season, bench him for the playoffs.
Thank
you.
And for all the people who say it is true, I just want to say this.
Right.
It took Alex Ovechkin 14 seasons to win a cup.
It was going to take Matthews 26. Probably.
You know what? There's two other people. I'm just looking this up right now. I'm doing it.
That's fine.
Joe Thornton has been in the league for 23 years, and he's most likely done after this year, and he'll play 23 seasons. Only one of which I think he was even in a cup final.
Yep.
He never won one. Same thing with Marlowe. Patrick Marlowe's been in the league for 23 seasons. Only one of which was in a cup final.
Probably the same.
And never won no one too. Like Patrick Marlowe, same thing.
And I feel bad for those guys. Those guys are so nice. I've heard Marlowe's nice. Thornton, I was on TikTok live earlier, and somebody said he wasn't nice. Could have just been a bad day. You never know.
Yeah.
But like, I feel bad for those guys. They've been in the league for so long, and yet haven't won a cup.
Patrick Marley's like, I think now he's got the record for most games played.
Yep.
In NHL history, bring Goriel's record, and like, no cup.
Nope.
I mean, that's just the way NHL is.
Yep.
I mean, like, dude, there can be really great players, but all the time, they don't win a cup.
Nope. All right. Now we'll change sports. We did half an hour talking about pretty much Leafs and hockey. Baseball. Another sport we like. There's been a rumor going around. I'm pretty sure you've heard of it. I think it's called the sticky rumor or something like that, where pitchers in the MLB are using illegal substances, and what counts as an illegal substance is pretty much that's not rosin. Or spit, or like. Spit's illegal.
Yeah,
I remember doing an umpiring thing. Spit's illegal. It's a thing that they've kind of seen a bunch of players or a bunch of pitchers using. It's called spider tack. It's like a sticky, almost pine tar, but not pine tar.
I mean, I'm still using that, but also I want to point out that I think I saw there's some things. I think there's some rumors that like there's some teams are actually like paying actual like scientists money to develop new substances.
Yep.
Like that are far more effective than the Spartak. Like it's almost. In fact, is it? I'd argue there's like some kind of like I saw a video, and I think it almost like just there's like some kind of arms race going between MLB teams to like hire some of the best scientists out there to get to create some new substances that give them an edge over their opponents.
Let me I know one of the few things that's actually come up is Trevor Bauer, YouTuber, baseball player. Pretty sure he's more of a YouTuber than he is a baseball player. Let's be real. I'm joking. 2018, pretty much anything before 2018, he was all right. He was decent, respectable.
Yeah.
2019 hits. No, 2019, he was all right. He's kind of getting better. 2020 hits. All of a sudden, he's a Cy Young winner.
Turns from okay, like into somehow Cy Young winner.
Turns to okay to best of all time. 2021 hits. He's even better.
Yeah.
There's a thing that MLB measures. It's called spin rate, and it's how much the ball spins before it reaches the batter's glove. I believe that's what it is.
Yeah, and he had like the highest increase in spin rate season by like from one season to another, like by far in MLB history.
Yes, you can do it naturally.
Like I think it was like above 300. Like no, you can like.
Yes, you can. You can learn how to spin the ball
you do
more
that, but
naturally.
Like,
realistically, though, are you gonna learn that in off season of a couple
months?
Nah. No, you're most likely using stuff. Garrett Cole was called out by Josh Donaldson. I love Josh Donaldson. Love him as a player. He was amazing in Toronto. I still love him even though he's on the Twins. I just love the swagger he has with him. He calls out Garrett Cole. The only reason this guy is actually good, you can see it, he's touching stuff on his hat, his glove, striking people out. Higher spin rate. How is his spin rates higher than everyone else's? Oh, let's see. They're using stuff to use. And it's like, MLB knows about this. Out,
Rob Manfred. I also want to...
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. So I just want to point out, like, when it came to Garrett Cole in particular, he was an okay pitcher. Like, he was on the Pirates for a while. He was an okay pitcher. Not, like, amazing or anything. But then once he is traded to the Houston Astros, he just suddenly becomes a Cy Young candidate.
Yep.
And that was not a one-off. I mean, like, other pitchers, I think Justin Verlander completely revitalized his career once he went to the Houston Astros.
Yep.
It's just a thing. Like, I think they obviously had they had access to some substances that were like other teams didn't, that just made their pitchers like way better than everyone else.
Yep.
Like they turn into a bunch of
the old bang trash can. Did you see the video of that? I'm pretty sure I sent it to you. A guy was like calling over Alex Bregman, asking for a selfie. Bregman came over. He's like, "Psych, I don't want a selfie. You bang on trash cans." Like, it was just like the disrespect. And then Bregman goes like 3 for 4 with 2 bombs. Whatever you do, don't make an MLB player angry.
Yep. And also, I think like with Trevor Bauer, so I think now he's like gets paid more money than any player has ever made in like a season. I think it was close to $40 million. I think he's got like the highest AAV, like
highest average per, I think, for a
pitcher. Ever, like for a contract ever, or not just for a pitcher. I think for a player ever. I don't think anyone else has been paid like $38 million a year, but it's like because it was a shorter one. Like it was only like I think he was getting paid like almost to $40 million a year, but it was only because he had like a 2-year contract or something like that. I think with the Dodgers. Now I think another reason that this is from a video I saw from a channel called Baseball Doesn't Exist. It's a great channel. Like I don't know if you saw it, but I think I think he speculated that's possible. Now, obviously, there's no evidence, but like. Wouldn't rule it out like that he might have got that he might actually have access to some of the best like formulas or whatever for these substances, and that was part of his selling pitch to Major League Baseball teams. So like, if you give me more money, then I'll give you access to this so you can help other pitchers. And it's not just him. Like he's seen a huge exponential increase of his spin rate again, but if you look at the other pitchers, I think every other pitcher on the roster, except for one, I think, has seen dramatic increases in spin rate. Like the Clayton Kershaw, Walker Buehler, David Price, who I forgot was on the Dodgers, Kelly Jansen, all of them saw like huge increases in spin rate.
I'm gonna say it right now, and I know I'm not wrong. Robert Manfred hates baseball, and he hates offensive baseball. He starts out knowing the newest thing, knowing that MLB pitchers, he knows, 100% he knows, knowing that MLB pitchers are cheating. Okay. There's a reason there's been so many no-hitters this year.
Like 6 of them, and I think the record for most of the season was 7. There's already been 6, and there should be 7 because
it's been the first.
If you want to count Madison Bumgarner's 7, was one of those doubleheaders where he pitched 7 full innings without giving up a single hit, but they didn't count as a no hitter because it wasn't 9 innings. But if you want to count that, then it's actually 7, which would have tied the all-time record, and it was only May.
By a technicality, it's 6. Reality, it's 7.
And a lot of these pitchers who were throwing no-hitters were not, the best ones. A lot of them were,
all of a sudden
random nobodies.
Yep.
The only guy who was, noteworthy was Corey Kluber. Yeah. And here's the thing. The only thing about him is that he's the only one of the 6... what I want to point out is I think all those 6 pitchers that threw official no-hitters, I think it was only Corey Kluber that actually has seen a decrease in his spin rate compared to 2019. Not including 2020, but,
Kluber has talent. I'll give him that.
Because all the other guys, they saw massive, John Means,
yeah,
Carlos Rodon, Wade Miley, Spencer Turnbull. Those are not guys that.
And thank you for giving me good pitchers and pitching moments in MLB The Show. The thing I hate the most is pitching moments. Actually, I just hate moments in general. They're just a pain.
Joe Musgrove.
Yeah.
I don't remember who else it was, but yeah. You brought through it's a bit weird. These guys that were okay or were relative nobody suddenly throwing no hitters. Yeah.
I think Rob Manfred, not along with just knowing that MLB pitchers are using substances, illegal stuff.
I mean, they did in the ball too.
They did it. That
helped it out. They did it on purpose.
Made it
They did in the ball on purpose, and that was they bought Rawlings a few years ago.
Yep.
Because they wanted to be able to change the baseballs themselves.
Yep.
So they could do that, and they did in the ball.
He encourages the shifts. He shows up drunk to a World Series meeting, a World Series celebration. That was funny. Just pissed drunk. He seems pissed drunk. Just showing up, giving the trophy to Bellinger. Amazing. What a god. But I remember Fuzzy was talking about this. The YouTuber Fuzzy. Also, shout out Fuzzy.
Yeah.
I'm going to switch chat a little bit. He's cool. I like him. He's a chill bro. He's a bro. He said, either let them use it. Let the pitchers use the stuff. And juice the ball again. That makes sense.
So it's kind of even?
Yeah. Ban it completely. Make sure nobody's actually using it. Then it's even. Or just let the batters use metal bats. At that point, sure, go with it. If pitchers aren't going to abide by the rules, who says the batters have to? So just if Josh Donaldson comes in with a metal bat one game and tells him to, not to do it, and the umpire tells him put it away, get a real bat, it just point to the pitcher, be like, tell him to put the baseball away and change gloves. All you got to do. Change hats.
It wouldn't surprise me that, they didn't really care about this cheat scandal at all on pitchers for a long time. I mean, they never really have cared much about cheating before. It was not until 2004 that they actually started drug testing players for steroids.
Right.
Because where, there was no restrictions on that. You would take steroids, no problem.
Right.
But, yeah. And I'm trying to think about what else. So, if it was in 2019, they, juiced the balls, and, there was a huge increase in strikeout rates, but there was also, the huge spike in home runs. Suddenly every team was hitting, insane amount of home runs.
Right.
Here and there.
Right.
And I guess, then while that, I mean, I think, I don't even know what they wanted to do, but also the batting averages were dropping down massively too. So
right.
You didn't really get any of the action where you get a single or a double, and those got on base.
Right.
Like that's one of the best moments, but like you don't see much of that because it's really at this point it's been reduced to only like free options that you see nowadays. It was like your home runs, strikeouts, or walks. Nowadays it's just strikeouts.
They're trying to encourage bunting and
maybe
small ball.
Walk it. Like,
they're trying to encourage more small ball. The game's changed so much.
1960. It's
the
not
game's
1960.
changed so much
on.
where everyone's swinging for the fences. Even guys who are small ball hitters are swinging for the fence, and you can't change that.
That's the only thing you can do. I mean, you see how fast like the pitchers throw now. Like, there's really like you can't really do much.
It's naturally going to become everyone's hitting home runs.
Yeah, you just got to swing for the fences at this point. Like, that's the only way you're probably going to get score runs off of some of these pitchers nowadays.
Have you seen Bo Bichette swing?
Yeah.
Have you seen how vicious it is?
I mean, at this point, you kind of have to be like that.
He's a small guy. He has wheels. Is he swinging for the fence? Hell yeah. He's got wheels, but he got power. Vladdy, he doesn't got wheels, but oh my God, can he rip one over the fence? What is he at? 18 home runs now?
17 or 18 home runs.
17 or 18?
I think he had like it was either tied for lead or he was in front. I think he was like.
I'm pretty sure he's in front. So.
Ronald Acuna Jr. I think he was tied with, or he was either ahead of him. I have to look back up. And like they deadened the ball because I don't know if some pitchers were complaining about like the huge increase in home runs. So that's why now you see a lot of teams are actually struggling to hit home runs even then too, and like a lot of guys are like weaker. Like I think Vladdy was like one of the only few guys who actually like had the opposite impact where he just completely went off. Like he was okay and good like before, but then he suddenly turns into an MVP candidate.
Another thing I hate is the shift.
A lot of other guys.
I hate the shift. I think it's stupid. If you're a lefty, you shouldn't be able to put 8 guys on one side. If you really wanted to, you can put all of your outfielders, all of your infielders on the first base side. That happened. The Dodgers did that. They put all their infielders, and I think their outfielders on the first, and one of the outfielders lined up 5 in a row in between first and second. The guy didn't decide, oh, let's just try to power bunt it down the line, the third baseline. That's the easiest way. Nobody does it.
I mean, it was also like that's not a thing that a lot of people would want to watch. That would be incredibly boring, especially like.
But really,
if that's
grounding
when
out,
you reduce the game to
grounding out to second base, which is playing
you
short,
that, or you either get that or you just bunt. Like that's not the way to market the game. And you know what the surprising thing is? Even with all these endless strikeouts and everything and all the shift, the ratings are actually significantly up. I think they were at their highest ratings in like 20 years.
Major League
Baseball. Because they got players. They actually got marketable players for once.
Yeah, they've been like Tatis, people like Javier Baez, who have a swagger.
I think they've been completely horrible. Like Major League Baseball has been completely horrible when it comes to marketing players in comparison to like the NBA or the NFL, which do a lot better job.
I think Rob Manfred's trying to kill off the MLB. I think
honestly the NHL does a better job of marketing its players with like than the MLB does.
MLB has the MLB Network. I don't have it. I'm not even sure if it's still in use because of how much Rob Manfred's trying to kill the sport.
I mean, blackouts. Yeah, I remember that they like got like blackouts. I think if you lived in somewhere like Las Vegas, there's like you're blacked out from watching 4 different teams.
Vegas doesn't even have a sports team.
It
doesn't have a baseball team. It has a minor league team,
but if you live there, you're blacked out from watching the Dodgers, the Padres, the Angels, and the Diamondbacks. You can't watch any of those games
because it's an Oakland
team. TV.
Athletics team, I guess, because they're supposed to move to Vegas, I think.
Probably moving there. There's no official, though. I would expect they'd do something that the Raiders did move over there.
Yep. But it's how are you? The only reason MLB is afloat because of the marketable players, the Tatis, the Shohei Ohtani's with oh my God, he hits nukes. The Javier Baez, the Trevor Bauer. I think Trevor Bauer is arguably the most marketable player. Just because of the YouTube. If most people in the MLB had YouTube channels, don't you think they're going to reach a younger audience? Get to see the insides, get to see how everything works. So you think they're going to be, there's more to baseball than just throwing pitches and swinging.
It's like
that's how you get younger guys. The flashy stuff. Kids are not going to sit there for 9 innings for 3 hours and watch people just strike out or ground out. They're going to want to see the players that wear all the bright, colorful armbands and the arm sleeves and the batting gloves and the cleats and, you know, have the cool, like, 8 chains and out here, swing for the fences, and if they hit a home run, they throw their bat into the 7th row. They're going to want to watch that. They like the flashiness. That's how you get people to watch. You don't
because, like, it's like the first time, like, they've... Because for as much as with steroid baseball, like, they were cheating, everyone was saying steroids, it was actually a great time for baseball. Like they had a lot of marketable players. Barry Bonds, they had Sammy Sosa, they had Mark McGwire, they had Ken Griffey Jr. He didn't take steroids, but I mean he was there.
Even Griffey was just pure power.
Griffey
was just marketable.
All those guys.
He was one of the few players to actually look cool playing baseball. Him, the iconic him with his swing, the backwards hat, his movement. The iconic. If you think of baseball players, most likely you're thinking of Babe Ruth, Derek Jeter.
Yeah, he was in there too. Those guys.
Jeter, yeah, he was good. Barry Bonds or Griffey. That's it. That's all you're thinking of. Why? Because they're most well known. Babe Ruth hit nukes. Bonds hit nukes. Griffey hit nukes. Who's the other one I said? Jeter. He didn't hit nukes, but he was amazing. He was flashy. Diving over the fence.
Plays.
The jump throw. The backhand. The cutoff. These plays are iconic. Now you're just grounding out to the third base every play, or you're grounding out to first, and it's...
And we're still talking about unwritten rules.
And we're still talking about unwritten rules.
Mention that too because I mean, like, they're trying to screw themselves over with their stupid old past. Come on, it's not 1920.
If I'm an MLB player, if I'm Fernando Tatis Jr., or I'm Yerman Mercedes, I step into play. There's a pitcher who's not throwing. It's a player, and we're up 7 runs. Then my coach tells me not to swing, and I don't swing, and they come back and win. That's on the coach. If I take a swing and I send it into orbit, if I send it to meet Elon Musk's Tesla out in space, and we win that game because of my run, that's a you're welcome moment. Yes, you're gonna get the old people in their 40s and 30s.
Traditionalists.
My dad's 40. He thinks that's the dumbest rule of all. He thinks if you're gonna be flashy. If he throws you a meatball right down the middle, you have the right to pimp that out. If you hit it into orbit and you send it into the eighth row top deck of the Rogers 500 level of the Rogers Center, pimp that, chuck it into the same spot, chuck the bat in the same spot. Who cares?
It's just because a lot of pitchers, they got sore losers.
Yep.
That like the sports dominated. Like all the people who are coaches are traditionalists.
Oh my God! What? Sorta? No.
I'll have like LaRussa, like, because he was like 77 years old. He was like been managing since like 1979. Like he's one of those big time traditionalists.
If I were on that team and he came up, I hit a nuke and won the game. He's like, you don't do that backflip again. I'll be like, all right, yo, GM, hit me up. I want to trade.
Yeah, don't talk. By the way, he should never even be saying about like about decisions that have consequences because he has 2 DUIs.
Yep.
So like he shouldn't be one to criticize someone for making poor decisions when he literally made one of the dumbest decisions a human being can make.
Yep. Next to murder.
Next to murder. Next to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Next to.
I'm not gonna say that other word because I don't know if like it probably like.
Cheese in Spanish, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or grape, but without a G.
Oh, grape. Yeah, there you go. Next to grape. Right. Those things.
Yeah.
And he's still getting paid to manage an MLB team. At this point, pay me to be. I'll be a manager. Put me in for him.
Put me in there, put me in. It'll cost a lot less money. Save a bunch of money.
I'll be watching my dad play MLB, and he comes up. He's like, "I traded this, and this for Bryce Harper." I'm like, "How are you not? How are you not the GM of the Jays? We could get Bryce Harper for 3 players, 3 minor leaguers, and a couple $100.
If only computer GMs were like that in real life.
I mean, they could be.
I mean, there are some people who are that dumb that have his. those teams before. Like,
and
not just that. Like when the Rangers were like complaining about Tatis with the swing.
Oh my!
Like it was on the Frio account. Like they were all talking about how like their team was sucks, and the main problem they had was the guy who is just too good.
Oh man, it's such a bad thing to be too good in a sport where you make millions of dollars for being good. Ah man, I hate being very good at a sport that I make good money off of because of my skill. I suck everything. Really?
So it's like it's simple as this baseball. There's no time limit. There's no time limit. They could. There's no time limit. It could go on as long as possible.
They're trying to speed it up. They're trying to speed up. I mean, people say baseball is boring just because it's that.
On second base, like strong speeding up.
Put it at first. Put him at first. Easy. Don't put him at second. Put him at 1st. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it gets the option for a double play, but also a gapper scores them.
Oh wait, I was also going to point out, like for all people, for others to say, it's a fantasy game's already over. I think it was last year. I think it was a Blue Jays game. They were down 7-0 against the Phillies, and then they came back and won that. Like and it was only a 7-inning doubleheader, by the way. So they had a lot less time. Like they had two less innings. Like the 2 less innings to make up for a 7-run deficit.
Yep.
And they still pulled it off. So like
I'm okay with that 7 that 7 inning.
Let me try to find the quote.
I'm okay with doubleheaders being 7 innings. I get that. Are you really gonna play 2 full baseball games in a day? No.
To paraphrase Yogi Berra, Hall of Fame Yankees catcher,
right?
And it over till it's over.
True. That's the exact. My dad, he's 40 years. He's just over 40. I told him about that rule. Apparently, he saw it. And he's like, I don't understand why it's upset. I go, it's apparently there's an unwritten rule. He goes,
I didn't even know about it.
It's an unwritten. If it's not written, then it doesn't exist.
It's an unwritten rule,
especially from the 30s, where you hit a home run, you pimp it, whatever. Now you get paid to be flashy. Now you would get paid to be flashy. Take that. Hiccups, but take that all day. If you're getting paid to be flashy playing sports, take that and play with it. At this point, why would you go against it? Right? What's the point of going against it? There's no point. Can we also talk about LeBron first? I changing sports again. We come back to baseball in a minute if we want.
So we'll just talk a little basketball.
A little bit of basketball. So Kevin Pillar. We'll start with this. It's Kevin Pillar hit in the face with a 94-mile-per-hour fastball. Former J, Superman, right? Said some things he probably shouldn't have while playing the game. Whatever. We don't talk about that. Got hit in the face with a 97 or 94-mile-per-hour fastball right to the face. No, like staring right at it. Broke his nose. Broke his something or other. He bleeding. Whatever. He's down for the ground for a minute and a half, almost a minute and a half. So 80 something seconds. LeBron gets poked in the. Oh no, it was like 30 seconds. LeBron gets poked in. Doesn't even get poked in the eye. He barely gets touched.
And he's on the ground for like 80 seconds.
He's on the ground 80 seconds.
Oh, and
there's a little brawl that started. This is what I noticed, or somebody pointed out. There's a little brawl that started after that. After that little clip, a little moment. LeBron stood up, walked over to where that was, where all the cameras were pointing, flopped back on the ground.
Or also, I'd also bring up, I think it was Joe Burrow. Tore both his ACL football, like.
Oh yep. He was down for like a minute. Literally a minute.
He tore both ligaments.
MCL, ACL, and a bunch of other things in his knee. Can't walk. Literally can't walk for probably a year. He's up. He's up on a cart 80 in a minute. LeBron barely gets touched. He flops to the ground. He's acting like he got shot 10 times. And then stood up and got shot another 10 times. Like, you can't accept that. You can't. Yes, he's a good player. But after that, and the comparisons between him and Jordan, statistically, yes, they're comparable. If we look at Michael Jordan, if he got touched, he's out there. If he got punched in the face, he would still be playing. He wouldn't even go down.
There's the flu game. He played while he was he
had a flu, scored 80-something points. LeBron's out here.
It was in the finals. He dominated and he had the flu.
LeBron's out here. He somebody blinks at him. He dies on the ground. He's comparable to a soccer player. As much as I hate soccer, and how much it's more acting than the WWE. I think the WWE is a little more entertaining than people watching. Actually, no, watching people flop in soccer is pretty funny, especially when they don't. They're just no. I know, Jonah, soccer is one of your favorites. I'm sorry, but like, you can't talk about flopping and not include soccer.
No.
There's a reason people.
It's normal.
There's a reason people bash on women's soccer. Yes, women's soccer. I swear to God, they throw fists at each other. It's literally hockey, but with a ball.
It's a lot more like actual like serious.
I would much rather watch women's soccer than I would men's soccer. I would, if I want to watch men flop around for an hour straight, I would just watch Monday Night Raw.
That's what WWE's for.
Yep.
If that's your thing, like.
And yet they still make it more entertaining than watching a soccer game. Not gonna lie, soccer is just too. If I went to a soccer game and I was in the atmosphere, I would, go into the trance of playing soccer. Like watching it, because that's a whole different experience. But watching it on TV, if I sit down and watch a Toronto FC game or paint dry, I think I'd rather choose paint dry.
I don't even watch that. Like, it's more like the European ones, and they got a big European tournament on that just started today.
Right.
It was like I think the best like all the countries in Europe. I think it was the tournament.
Weren't they making a Super League?
Yeah, it was like
I don't even know what that was.
Yeah, it was like this whole thing. Like, I think it was all the best clubs in Europe. So like, in Europe, there's like in North America, there's only like one big league for some of the sports.
Uh-huh.
In Europe, there's like a league there's soccer leagues in like every country in Europe.
Right.
But there's like 4 of them that are really big. Like there's the Premier League in England.
Right.
There's La Liga in Spain. Mm-hmm. There's the Serie A in Italy, the Bundesliga in Germany, and Ligue 1 in France. So those are like the big ones. That's where the big teams are. That's where pretty much all the recognizable faces in the sport are all in those leagues in those countries.
Mm-hmm.
And like the way the system works, like there's promotion and relegation. So like if you're like the worst team in your league, you get relegated to a lower league. So like it's imagine like if the Baltimore Orioles were so bad they get relegated to like AAA. Like it's like that.
Oh my God.
And like the best team in the second division gets promoted to the top one. So like I don't know, let's just say the Buffalo Bisons, if they like really good, they could get themselves promoted to Major League Baseball. Like just example.
Right.
Something like that. Except none of those teams are actually connected to each other.
Right.
Like these are completely different divisions, and like
it's the name, not the. It's the name. Yeah. If it wasn't an affiliate, then it would be like, oh, it's like taking, a high school team, throwing in the majors, and like the best high school team in the country, throwing in the majors, and taking the worst team in the majors, throwing in a high school team.
Like you've got all those, but the way the sport's evolved is that it's evolved in a lot of the worst ways. Like that all the teams are spending insane amounts of money on it to buy up all the top players.
Sounds about right.
And it's who's actually owning them. It's also like there's some teams that are literally owned by countries like Saudi Arabia, the UAE and Qatar, like all those Middle Eastern, whatever the hell, like oil dictatorships, but like they are actually like state owned by all those like countries. Like some of those top politicians, those top monarchs actually own some of these clubs, and like they spend insane amount of money on players, like hundreds of millions, equivalent of like hundreds of millions of dollars. Yeah, is how much they spend every year, like euro or pound, like
currency.
They spend that much, like insane amount of money on players.
Screw it, I'm becoming a soccer player. It's not that hard. I just flop around and kick a ball.
It's not even much money.
I'll just sit in the midfield, kick a ball, and then just stand there. I'll get paid millions of dollars.
Get paid millions, and I think the whole controversy is that I think I'll just talk about the Premier League because it's the most popular soccer league in the world.
Right.
I think it was like the top 6 teams. Like there's a huge divide between like 6 teams, and because there's 20 teams per league, and there's like a huge divide between the top by like the 6, which are like the 6 most recognizable teams.
Right.
Manchester United, Manchester City, Liverpool, Chelsea, Arsenal, and Tottenham Hotspur.
Didn't Chelsea pull out? Didn't they like?
All 6 of those clubs actually pulled out. They all joined that Super League.
I remember there was a huge a Sportsnet somebody posted it, and it was just a huge party in the city, in like literally downtown wherever. Banners being thrown around, people drinking, and it's like
it was like. Okay. They just won. Chelsea. They just won the Champions League, which is like the biggest. It's the biggest club tournament for like all the teams in Europe.
That's what I was thinking. Why don't they just have that as like playoffs?
They've got that, and it's for every team. But like, I think what happened was that they wanted to create those 6 teams in England plus 3 teams in Spain, plus 3 teams in Italy, and 1 team in. Actually, no, it wasn't a team in France. I think it was just those. It was like 12 teams. They're playing like they're just having 12 teams to start. Like they break away from all those leagues, like just leave them and form their own closed league where there's no promotion, no relegation.
That's stupid. What they should do, I actually was thinking about this. What they should do, like it just popped in my mind, is you have your like regular season against every other team in your league, and then the Super League comes in and it's the top 2 teams or top 3 teams come in from that league, from each league, and they play each other in like a round robin, and then it goes into an elimination tournament. Oh, there we go.
It's what it is. I mean, like, that's what the Champions League is.
Rename it Super League.
It's like the top 4 teams in Premier League go into the Champions League. Top 4 teams in like some of these like they had their teams from all across Europe, and it like if you do well, it's like the OHL.
Right.
You win that, like you move on to more Cup, same with the WHL or the QMJHL. It's kind of like that, except there's also more slots. There's a lot more teams than a Memorial Cup. There's like 32.
Right.
So there's some teams if you want, or even if you place 4th, but like in some of the big leagues, like in England, like Premier League or some of those, then you move on, and then like they place you on round robins, like 8 groups of 4 teams.
Right.
First 2 advance, and then like it's random draw based on who they face.
Right.
And it's it's like 2 legs, and like whoever scored more goals wins throughout those 2 games.
Oh, it's a goal thing.
Yeah, so it's like it's like 2 legs. Home was like it's like whoever scores the most.
I hate those.
Like, that's the way it works.
I only like those if it's like a decider.
Mm-hmm.
I know in the ball hockey league I played in.
Or like the World Cup, or like where it's like single elimination, like 1 game, and that, or then like the NFL.
Right.
So it's 1 game.
I know
like lose. It's what.
I know the ball hockey league I played in, or at least I still technically will play in it. What technicalities. We won on a technicality. We made 1 year we made the playoffs off a technicality because we had more. The goal differential was more in our favor than it was the other team that was trying to make it in.
Yeah.
We had the same record. I think we were like 4-3 or whatever, something or other like that. So it's okay. Rule breaker, cool. Like as like your decider, go ahead. I like that rule. That's not a bad idea. But to make it into it, and you have to have a certain amount of goals, and you have to. What's the point? Especially when they score maximum 3 goals a game.
I mean, like. And I also moved back over to the whole point of that Super League thing that they want to do.
Right.
Some of those teams, like one of them, Manchester City, which has won the Premier League like 3 out of the last like 5 seasons or something like that.
Right.
They've been the best team, although they just lost the Champions League final. They were not a great team like 10 years ago.
Right.
They were like on the fringes of the Premier League. They're like one of the worst teams that would struggle to stay up in, and would get relegated down to a lower division. The reason they're where they are is because they were bought out by the UAE, like these Emirates, like monarchs. Right. They bought the team for an insane amount of money, and like because of how wealthy they are, there's no spending limit.
Right.
So they could spend whatever like the hell they want.
Right.
Again,
soccer,
so it means a team that's like bad or like one that never really competes for titles can suddenly go from that to becoming like the best within a matter of just like 3 years.
Yeah.
That's what I'm interested in.
My question is, you have a huge net and a tiny ball. How do you miss it?
They want to block. Like, I think the whole point of the whole league is that they want to block themselves off, so no other team could actually do that. The same thing, because other teams could do it too if they got bought off by like a wealthy person, like say Jeff Bezos or Bill Gates, like buys all these teams, and it's like Elon Musk. They got the same amount of money, they can put it in now and spend whatever the hell they want.
It's stupid. All right.
They broke off, and like it was all and also they would make a lot more money off of it, and the only reason it flopped because there was a huge backlash from the supporters of a lot of these clubs.
Right.
A huge protest. That's why all those Premier League clubs in England, they all pulled out after immense pressure.
Yeah.
And then like a lot of other teams pulled out too. And there was only like 3 that even tried to stay, and like the whole thing just completely fell apart.
It was like the XFL.
Yeah. Except it wasn't because of the pandemic that got it canceled. It was because like everyone saw it was. It was like an attempt for greed, and also they had to pull it out because I think FIFA said they would ban every player that like ban players from participating in international tournaments. So like you see the World Cup, there would be no Ronaldo, no Messi, no Neymar, none of the big names would be in it.
Why? What? Oh, if they join the Super League?
Because if they joined Super League, they were on a team that was in the Super League. They would not be able to play.
Yeah, no wonder nobody wanted to join.
No one would watch it if it weren't for all those like big name players were in it.
It would literally just be high school kids. Actually, that'd actually be kind of interesting. Not gonna lie. All right.
Yeah.
Anything else we kind of want to touch on before we end it?
I can't think of anything.
All right. So thank you guys so much for watching. If you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button. We're trying to hit 50 subs before we've changed it now. We've changed it for my birthday to September 1st. Give it a little more time. It's kind of harder to grow on on YouTube, so it was just give it a little bit more time. Thank you, Jonah, for joining me and talking about Les Sports. Everyone go check out his channel. It'll be linked in the description, as well as Ryan's. He was supposed to be on this. He had to eat because he didn't show up. I'll still leave it.
Take an hour to eat, I guess. I don't know.
Takes him 8 years. He hasn't eaten in 8 years because it takes him 8 years to eat. But